100,000 Voices Diaspora, a powerful journey echoing through generations. Our voices unite, forging an unbreakable bond that transcends time. Embrace the legacy, embrace the future, as we carry this heritage forward. 100,000 Voices Diaspora, where the past meets the present, and the echo of our unity resounds forever.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again for 100,000 Voices. And today we have a lovely group of people sitting in front of me here. I have Daphne, Wycliffe, and Rispa, and this is part of a group called Minto. This group has been around for almost a year now, and I'm so excited to learn more about them, what their vision is, and how they're bridging the gap in the community. So without wasting too much time, I'm just going to ask each of them to kind of tell me who they are, like their roles, their specific roles in Minto. But before we go there, if someone can just define for me Minto. I'm Kisi, so I know it, but for those of us who may have forgotten our language, our mother tongue, and for those who may not know, what is Minto and why was Minto created?
Great. That's a good question. So we can approach that by defining the word Minto itself. And there's two ways you can approach that particular word. Minto is a short 5-letter word, but its meaning is very deep. So one of its meanings to attach is to people, and the other aspect of the word is to attach it to place. So Minto can mean us, people belong to the same household, and Minto can be our place, our home. So in the rawest form, Minto for Omogusi is a word which defines us, as you can expound and say Ubuntu in a wider sense.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Perfect. All right. So when was the conception of the idea to create Minto? And as I was telling you, as talking behind the scenes, getting to know the aspects of Minto, I did mention that it's not an easy feat to start a group and get it going. And for less than a year, you have a conference already. That means you're onto something. And we're going to learn how what your vision was, and how you've been able to execute this in such a short period of time.
Minto has actually been a dream. It was a dream for many, many years until 2019. A few of us, Wycliffe being one of them, we met and had lunch somewhere. And as we were having lunch, we were trying to put together this group where we can start working on some initiatives. And as we were trying to formulate how that is going to look, what we are going to do, how we are going to do it, and then going into 2020, COVID came. And so Minto the idea was put on the shelf for a while. And while it was put on the shelf for a while, we didn't forget about that idea. Sometime last year, we decided, let's put this out there, and we regrouped. We started marching forward, and here we are today. Minto is up and running, going big.
Amazing. So is it a membership-based kind of group? How do you do your recruitment process, I would ask? Is it like a membership, annual membership based, or is it just a group of people who just do it by maybe project based? Is it project based or is it membership based?
It is both. However, we have not started going the membership registration route, because with anything you have to create awareness, make sure that people know who you are, what you're doing, what you stand for. So our goal is first for people to really understand what Minto is about. And when people understand what Minto is about, what Minto wants to do, then it is easier now for me to convince you, even though I really don't think I need to convince you. Once I say Minto, I know you're Minto.
Yes. Very true.
But
Yes.
understanding that many groups have come up to do different things and things go a different way, we first wanted to establish a level of trust. And by establishing a level of trust, then you can be able to bring in other people and say, look, here's what we are doing, here's what we've done. In Jutokonya, you know, they say if you want to go far, you go together. If you want to go fast, you go alone. We want to go far. So now we are talking to everybody so we can go far going together.
Okay, so if you could just give me kind of such a bullet point of what your vision is, like the things you want to achieve as a group, and any of you can jump in.
Yeah, sure. So in the upcoming month, we have a launch where we're going to put a word out there on who is Minto and what we're about, so that we can bring everybody on board. But in a nutshell, our idea is try to target two main areas that are very beneficial, where we feel like as a people, especially within the diaspora, we can collaborate with our people back at home. That is in education and healthcare. So there is where we want to lay a major focus on. We have some works in progress. In education, mainly we are doing scholarships. We had our first cohort, like you had, we were quite young, going to 1 year now. We have our first cohort of 10 students, but to get you to the vision is to try and see how we can be able to help very promising but economically challenged kids back at home to realize their full potential. And the goal is to go to a point whereby you move this particular kid from primary school to a high school. You don't leave him forget about it, but you make sure that our life has been changed.
Yes.
And we have an approach that RISPA calls with the network screen to create, have them attached to a given institution for let's say internship and get a job. And that's the time where they sit in a boardroom and you let them go. They are now a meaningful person in society, they can give back, also uplift somebody else. So that is kind of the trajectory on the education standpoint. And on healthcare, we have facilities back at home. We have very beautiful structures, especially with the evolution of the governments. We have county governments, and you know, healthcare is one of those particular areas that are developed. We have much of the resources being pumped into building structures. But the question is there service delivery in these particular institutions?
Yes.
And having been in the diaspora, we do know that service delivery is way better here. And that is the gap we want to try and bridge. We have a lot of healthcare professionals within the UC community, nursing, doctors, and many. So through this particular group, we're able to create networks in which case we can be able to give back in terms of partnerships with various institutions, be it in childcare, mother-child healthcare, be it in mental health issues, be it in just mainstream healthcare. That way, there is a coalition of Omugusi in the diaspora who are able to reach back and make sure that at the end of the day, people are given proper services, because service delivery is the biggest issue back at home. So through this particular organization, a network of that nature will be formed to get out there. So those are the key ones. The other aspect is on economic development and economic empowerment. We are going to try through this group and get networks that are able to create ways of economic empowerment that can lift our people back at home, because we know poverty is a big affliction back at home.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are the three key areas, but the major ones are the two: education and healthcare.
Okay, and I like that education. I'm passionate about education since I was AI. I like that most people stop at just giving scholarships to kids when they're in primary school and high school. But I like your mentality of going all the way to the board. You're carrying this person through and enabling them to be an individual who can provide for themselves and uphold other network of people and also be fulfilled. Now, I know that at home, we are very focused on STEM related subjects. How does Minto, how do you award scholarships? Is it on merit of grades, or is it merit of inclusive of a student as a whole? Because the world is now changing. A lot of arts, creativity, entertainment, those kind of culinary is one other big thing. So are you going to include students to get scholarships in these other areas as well? Because I know a lot of us are very strong in STEM, and it's not
Nothing wrong with that.
to my other 40-some tribes. It's nothing against them. We are strong. We emphasize STEM. Let's put it that way. Even when we were growing up, you needed to be a successful person, STEM, right? But there are students who are very good with their hands, creativity, and very talented students. Are you going to incorporate this in your scholarship?
So let me take you back a little bit, then we'll come
Yeah.
to your question. So the model that we've taken, so he mentioned cohorts.
Yes.
So we are taking these students and as a cohort, we put them in the same school. So they are not spread in different schools. And we were very strategic about that because we wanted them to be where we are able to carry out other activities with them outside of what they do in the classroom. We are also selecting these students from one area at a time, because we know 5-10 years down the road, when they are economically empowered, the community that they came from is going to be changed. So, and if you're going to change a community in an impactful way, you cannot do it with one person. So we started with one area in Kisii County, and because we stand for Gusii and not one county, we are Omo Gusii, and Omo Gusii, we want to maintain that unity.
Yes.
Our next cohort, first cohort, depending on how many we will take for next year, has to come from Nyamira. So we want to make sure that we are also balancing that. Now, to your point, yes, they STEM, but as we have these students, we look into what is your interest, what is your vision, what do you want to become? And once we identify that, as we work with the teachers and the school to push them forward in the classroom, we are also creating other partnerships. Where that we are also nurturing some of these things, introducing other clubs that they can participate in, also introducing the element of giving back through volunteerism during their holidays, so that they are not just book smart.
Yes.
They also know how to navigate
Yes.
everything else in life, including financial literacy.
Very good. I like that. I think you've basically covered, as I say, Minto is way ahead of what other people do, because we've been focusing on just one thing, whereas I see you're focusing on a person as a whole, the spiritual, the mental, the physical, all those three aspects to build a wholesome person once they're done.
Yes.
All right. So, cultural preservation. How are you going to do this without alienating? You're trying to be proud of your culture and invite people to experience your culture as well. How do you propose, or how are you going to move forward without alienating others, but just showcasing your Minto and Omosi as a whole? And Daphne as the international liaison will possibly let us know.
Omogusi is Omogusi.
Yes.
So our culture remains Omogusi's culture. So we will not change our culture because other people are looking at it differently. So we will display Omogusi as is, and we want people to embrace whatever it is that we're displaying.
And we want to continue, because you realize that as we move out of sea, many times you're in a new environment, in a foreign land, And if you don't have a lot of interactions, a lot of conversations with Omogusi, then some things begin to fade.
Yes.
And so we want to look at what are the ways we can be able to still continue to have conversations, still find ways of incorporating our culture away from home, so that we can always be tied back to what our culture is. During the conference, we are going to have, there's always this question of the impact of culture, should I keep this, should I do this, that's what our culture demands. So we are going to have that conversation of, cultural dissonance, right? When is it appropriate to apply certain cultural practices in certain environments? So there's that aspect. But then, the other day I was actually listening to Dr. Bore. I'm sure you know Dr.
Yes.
Bore.
Yes.
And Dr. Bore said something that I found quite profound. And he said, especially when you look at our children who are born here, many times we tell them, but that's our culture. But then he said, a culture is a certain people at a certain place at a certain time. A certain people, a certain place, at a certain time. So with that said, me, Daphne, and Wycliffe, we share a culture because we are certain people, a certain time, a certain place. We are about the same age,
Yes.
coming from the same place. So we've experienced the same things.
Same things.
Yeah. But then when we now try to say this to our children, it doesn't make sense to them. So it's really not their culture because it was not their time. It's a different place. So now that for me gave me a light bulb that I think we need to explore some of those things and figure out what is the best way to share traditions with our children, so they also appreciate where we are coming from as they create their own culture.
That's very profound. And of course, Africans, see where oral tradition was the thing. We would sit around the fire with our grandmas by the fireplace, or when she's cooking by the 3 stones, something that I miss dearly. And if we can, these practices, we learned. We didn't sit, there were no books that taught me how to be Omogusi. I learned by watching. I learned by being at the farm. I learned by sitting and my grandparents and my parents telling us. So how do you plan on, because there's that cultural disconnect for our children who are born here. How do you merge the 2 cultures? How is Minto going to help merge the 2 cultures so that we don't lose an entire generation that doesn't really know where Minto is, language included, which is a big thing.
A big thing. So one, we show. One of the things that we want to bring to Minto, in where we live today, is a Minto festival, where we can have display of our culture, our songs, our games, our food, and so people get to experience that, and we need to do it often enough so that we are always putting that at the forefront and it's not an afterthought. And also engaging in conversations and talking to people like you. So we have information that is going out to our children, but also to us, because like I mentioned, if we are not sharing some of these things, like now, we actually, all of us, have become very intentional in trying to remember some of the key words.
I'm struggling. I'm telling you, like that's what I was telling you all before. Like my sister speaks better than. If you don't practice, you lose it. It happens that way. When I used to hang out with Ababusi, my friend Ababusi, I would speak it fluently. But over time, once you're not with people, unless we meet at weddings and things like that, then you lose it. So
That is very true.
That is true.
Yeah.
So now we do have a conference. This is so exciting. They have a conference coming up at the Renaissance Hotel in Dallas,
Yeah.
North 1590 Lyndon B. J. Freeway. But all this information that we have is going to be at the end of this show. Will be there, so you can always, and also their website. They're going to give you the website name as we end. But now I just want to find out about this exciting conference. What are the plans you have for this conference? Who are some of the speakers, some of the activities that people can be involved in, and of course you have the finale, which is Saturday night, the gala, where you have to come dressed in your best and just enjoy a night out. Will you have a moment with me, but if that's going to be there, then I'll buy my ticket.
Yeah.
For sure, that's something we always miss and love. So tell us about the conference. Give us a breakdown for the 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Give us a breakdown of the events and what we can look forward to.
Yeah, so Friday will be full of events. It will be a packed day from morning through the evening. So we're going to have panels, workshops, where we're going to have various discussions. In the morning, mainly we're going to have discussions around education, given that that's one of the pillars of engagement that we're looking at as Minto. And then we're going to have another panel that is going to discuss issues healthcare. So the entire spectrum from mental health issues, mother-child healthcare, all that, and how we as Minto in the diaspora, we can be able to engage and connect with the people back at home and be a solution, more than questions that we almost always raise on what goes on back there. Then we're also going to have a conversation on economic empowerment. And we have big partners are coming on board to have conversations around this. If I may add a little bit more on the economic part, economic empowerment forum, it'll be a discussion that will be beneficial for Omagusi in the diaspora and back at home. There are areas we as Omagusi kind of are taboo to touch, issues like what happens to your estate when you're not here. Questions we often don't ask until it happens, and we scramble to find solutions.
Because we think it's a bad omen.
Yeah,
to write a
to
will.
talk about it. So estate planning is one of it.
Yeah.
Then how do you protect your assets? There'll be discussions on how you can be able to do investments. We have a wide array of investments. Real estate is one of them, both here and back at home, stocks and bonds. All these things will be discussed. So you have assets, how do you secure them? Setting up trusts, things that we almost always do not have conversations around.
Yes.
So those will be the three major ones on Friday, and the segments will be broad enough. So people need to come and engage so that we can have discussions in those areas. Then on Saturday, we're going to have in the morning an interdenominational session, so that we don't take away from being the Sabbath. People don't feel like, you'd be guilty like missing church to attend this function.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll be attending Minto conference, but the same feeling at home worshiping.
For sure.
Yeah, so we're going to have an interdenominational session in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we're going to have a women empowerment forum. So almost women in the diaspora need to be here. We're going to have big figures coming to have discussions around here. One of them is going to be the women representative from Kisii County, will be one of the panelists. And another big issue is the debate around gender, and that would be a good forum. RISPA was very intentional in introducing a male figure in that particular sitting, so that it doesn't become a war between the two genders.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a common notion.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a common notion
Even
that.
men can attend.
Yeah, they can.
So
for
this
sure.
is open
Yes,
so you don't
yes.
have
Yes.
to. Okay. So
Yeah, it doesn't
because
feel like.
really the roles have been kind of mixed. I don't see men. You find yourselves doing things you never thought you would do.
That's
when
true.
you come here
That's
now.
true. And women empowerment has been misinterpreted to mean that we are denigrating or degrading men for a woman to rise, but that is not really the sense. So with this conversation, we're able to feel that this is a thing that is supporting everybody in the community, because when a woman is growing, the community is going to be well in the long run.
And she's not threatening the male gender.
We're not
Well,
taking
it's
away,
taking-
we're uplifting you in the process.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And what about the gala?
Yeah, the gala is big. I want to very specific on that. Yeah.
Actually, I will let our international liaison.
What do you expect? Any special artists you'll be
I
showcasing
think she will do it
from
more justice.
and what we expect for that night?
So first of all, we try to reach out to most of our community Kusi leaders back in Kenya.
Yeah.
Some of them are responding, they're not sure about their schedules yet, but we still have maybe another 2 weeks.
Yes.
So once all of them confirm if they can make it, we'll put their names in the list for the advertisement. But besides that, we want to have Ovokano guy. There's one we're trying to reach from Kenya. Here is in Canada. We're not sure if we can make it here. So we have two traditional Musi
Yes.
entertainers.
Entertainers.
Yeah, so we are hoping that they'll be here with us so that we can entertain everybody with that. And of course, we have already 2 guests who have confirmed, but we have not made it really official. Our 2 senators, Komo Morgan and Honorable Richard Nyoka, they should be involved with us. So we're trying to get the other more to come, especially the ladies, AC, Gloria, and Renee.
Big things. Big things. Start to secure your tickets now. All that information is available on the website. Pricing as well is available on the website. If anyone is interested in being a vendor and showcasing their products or their businesses, whatever they have as Omosi, do they have an opportunity during these 2 days to do that?
They definitely do. And as a vendor, and the conference, yes, it's Minto, but we are not saying if you are not Omosi, you cannot come. Because we know that our conference theme is unity of purpose. And you cannot preach unity and try to be exclusive.
Yes.
So we have friends of Minto
Friends of Minto.
who are also coming to the conference and who are very welcome. And that extends to our sponsors, that extends to the vendors, because we have products that we use that may not necessarily be made or being sold by somebody who's within our community. So we want to be a welcoming community, because at the end of the day, yes, we start from home, but in the spirit of Ubuntu, it spreads out. I am because you are. So we want to be better people as Minto, but also better people in the communities that we live in. So any vendor, even if you're not Minto or Mogusi, more than welcome to come and participate in the conference. The information on where, what the course is going to look like, that information is available on the website, themintofoundation.org. And if you have any questions, there's a phone number there, there's an email, more than welcome to reach out and let us know what questions you have, and we'll be more than happy to address and accommodate. But I do want to go back to the question of the gala. One thing that we are also being very intentional about as Minto is celebrating those who have trailblazed for Mogusi, but also in the future introducing celebration of other people who are doing impactful, meaningful work that is pushing Omogusi ahead. So we are very, very excited, very honored to be celebrating the Honorable Justice Malaga, retired, in the gala this year.
All right, so you heard it first here. He'll be in town, and his advice is limitless.
Yes.
And he has impacted our whole nation and changed the framework of how we think of the justice system. And he's very grounded spiritually as well, which is one thing that's very key, exactly, for any good leader. And I think that he will be a very good person. You cannot miss this at all. If there was anything, I think this is the year that we are actually coming out to do things now. It's been 2 years of being in lockup, basically, and then the 1 year when no one knew whether we were coming back. So this is the year that we can, I think a lot of us have not seen y'all for years. So a lot of us, this is also a time, I think, for people to come back and just go into that normal nature of, about the one Minto, we love to gather together, eat together, sing together, cry together. We do things together. So I think this would be a good jump start to get back to where we were, where we gather for different things. So before we close out, mental health is a very important thing. I didn't want to it to be muddled in the middle. It's a very, very important thing, and something that I see a lot of stories at home, and this is something that you're also touching on in Minto. How are you approaching mental health, and are you partnering with anyone? How are you approaching that, the mental health, and that skepticism of mental health is really not a disease, we either pray it away or we go and get some herbs and stuff. How are you going to empower people to seek help? Even us now who are aware of these things still. And mental health can be anything. It can be depression, it can be anxiety, it can be anything. But as Minto, we are strong people, we just keep pushing. But how do you empower people to seek help when they need it?
So one of the things that we are very intentional about, and as we go through that healthcare process, we've been also very intentional about not forgetting mental health, because many of us that have actually come into our homes and we've experienced it firsthand. And we have partnered, very happy to work with the organization Kusi Mental Health Awareness, GMA. GMA is also a young organization like us, but doing mighty things. In the month of May, in that partnership led by Kusi Mental Health, we have a young lady, Tabi Mogeni, out of Dubai. She's leading the organization in support with some other people within her team. We were able to do a campaign in Kisii for mental health, Kisii and Nyamira counties in the month of May. That jump started really as being very intentional about the mental health process. We had the support of Kisii County, the support of Nyamira County, where now we were working with the professionals on the ground, and the team diaspora was supporting the teams on the ground logistically, and it was a very successful event where the team was able to do barazas. They were able to do schools, go to schools and talk about mental health. They went to churches talking about mental health. They did mental health awareness with county employees. They did in both counties, and concluded that with a mental health work in Nyamira that was very, very successful. So we are very proud of the work GMA is doing, and because we believe in collaboration and there is no need to duplicate something that is already working.
Yes.
So we are going to keep supporting the work that they are doing, and making sure that where we are able to help, we are pushing mental health from that aspect. They are also very good partners with Minto, and we hope to continue enhancing that partnership.
So for each of you, I'm going to ask, how do you make Minto relevant, and how do you keep supporting Abawusi who are abroad? In all their successes, failures, health crises, loss of loved ones. How is Minto going to 365? You have a conference for 2 days, so 363 days in the year. How do you propose to engage and dialogue with Kabantu Minto in the diaspora and abroad?
Of course. With I would say we celebrate most of the people who are doing well, even though they're not doing well, but we celebrate them by making it aware to everybody. This is Bianca, she's doing this. We have to celebrate you. Every other day we celebrate you, go to the next person, and that way everybody knows. Not everybody knew Bianca, but now they know Bianca. It's this and this and this, and it's a good thing. So people get encouraged. They're waiting. They're looking forward to who is the next person to be celebrated.
And I like that. Give people their flowers when they're alive. Keep celebrating people and hold big functions when they're gone. But give them flowers when they're
And
alive.
then one other thing is we support when there are calamities. Somebody has a death in the family. We come together, support in any other way we can. Gather people together, and go on and on.
Now, one of our pillars is community awareness. That is one of our pillars within our structure. And the goal is continuing those conversations beyond the conference. Because our conference, yes, you come, big show, lights, camera, action, but the real work is behind the lights, camera, action. So we have a community awareness pillar where we will celebrate each other when it's time to celebrate, but also having those difficult conversations, finding ways to engage the community and those difficult conversations, finding ways where there are a lot of resources out here that many people are not aware of. So when we find those resources, how do we make sure that that information is available to Minto so that they are able to utilize that resource if needed? And we continue just making sure that we have our ear on the ground. So Minto has to be everybody. Okay? We have this hashtag, we say, you are Minto, Minto is you. Hashtag Minto is you. Actually, there are three. Hashtag Minto is our business. Hashtag Minto is you. Hashtag you are Minto.
All right. We're going to get used to all those hashtags. Hashtag away.
Yeah. Hashtag away.
Hashtag away.
Yeah. Minto is our business. You are Minto. Minto is you. So we have to first remember that being Minto starts with me. And then our Minto will come in, and now we become our Minto. We are together about Minto. So you cannot say, oh, you Nikitu yao, I don't want to be involved. Because at the end of the day, we are all one. We have to embrace each other. If I was sitting there watching one day, this Baraki, yeah. So in love, and just appreciating that people love you enough to correct you, but also love you enough to celebrate you. And as we, baby steps, working together, loving each other, embracing each other, and ensuring that your success is my success. I celebrate you today. You clap for me today. I clap for you tomorrow.
True. Yeah. So if I can also chime in, what I can say is that Minto, we as Omuks in the diaspora, very organized on benevolence issues.
Yes.
Tumejipanga vizuri sana. In a very wide sense, we're very organized around funerals, where people have problems of that nature. But there are many areas where we can be able to come together and help each other. Business is one of them. Like COVID came, a lot of small businesses were hit hard because they've not made money, they're not getting out there. So from this particular organization, how can we come together as Minto and at least know where each and every one of us is? Where is Bianca? Where is our business? Where is Rista? Where is our business? Especially for those who have businesses, I know a lot of them obviously on a Jituma mind. We have businesses, some are working, they're working hard. So get organized also outside that, in businesses, in work environments. Like now, we have so many people trying to immigrate, be it on green cards, be it students. I don't know which way to go. A lot of questions they're trying to ask here and there. So we want to organize in a way that even on our website, you can have these resources ready. if you're a student with I-20 trying to come study in the US or any other country, you go to Minto, you have a resource you can at least refer or make
Yes.
a reference to get information on which is my next step. You know, our businesses here, like now, some of us could just hear about the SBA loans and whatnot with the passing wind.
Yes, but
So yeah, how can we organize in that if it's businesses on questions around tax, you know, how do I be able to file my taxes properly? How do I reduce my tax burdens? How this resource is ready in me as Minto, so we can be able to help each other. And I mentioned something about from classroom to boardroom. So we're trying to find a way that our students are able to get ready for absorption to colleges out here, because they get better opportunities worldwide when you come from colleges in the US, in Europe, and other countries outside of the country. I'm not saying our education is less or lower in standards, but there are better opportunities when they come out here. So how do we package a resource which can even enable these students to access? We have a lot of scholarships out here, but we don't have the information.
yes.
Are we able to put this information ready for students to go plug in, look at where they merit, apply maybe out of 100, even if we have 1%, 2% turnaround rate, we are doing something in the community. So these are some of the things we are trying to brainstorm around, and we're not saying we have all solutions to everything. That's why we need everybody on board, so that we can be able to which are our way forward.
But the
Yeah.
baby steps are now, you
Yeah.
know, they've grown
Yeah.
maturing into adulthood. So there is a move, but I look forward to seeing Minto in yellow pages.
Oh,
White
see that
pages.
yellow pages?
In a sense, yellow pages, in a
Yeah.
sense where I know there's a business directory.
Yes, I will.
I know this is Minto who has this. I can just go there and you know, because I can feel comfortable. They will understand me culturally. Like if I was going to a doctor who is OOC and maybe someone else won't understand me, then I would. Yeah, if there's a store that I need to go to and I can't find it, then it's just a good hub
Yeah.
to just pull up all that. So we have come near the end, but there's one important thing that I want, because they're going to give all the information on the website. If you'd like to sponsor a child, a student, I did see a few students on there. Anyone can go on, click on who they would like to sponsor, and I did see all the information there. So you can go to the website, I'm assuming, to get all the information packages on how long you want to sponsor a child.
So just to add something on what you're trying to build on, we as a diaspora, we do support education a lot back at home. But now we want to package it in a way that this also helps you as the sponsor, as the donor. So let's say you have a child back at home you're sponsoring. Through Minto, you can partner, and now your school fees that you're sending becomes a donation through the foundation. Okay? You identify the need, you say, I know a child somewhere who's really deserving. I want to help, but I want to help through Minto. So people can come on board, plug in, we're going to have all that streamlined. And anywhere in UC, even if these kids are admitted elsewhere outside of UC, in different schools, you can be able to go through Minto, you support the child. It doesn't have to be the ones we be left at ourselves. And now that becomes a tax benefit to you. You're getting the child, and you're also able to reduce your tax burden out of the donations you're giving through that education program. Yeah, so we're going to have that shared on our website, and that information will be very easy to break down and consume.
And that also puts the student into now the Minto mentorship program, where that student is able to benefit from all these other things that we are putting our cohort students through. So, because many times we are just sponsoring one student, you're just paying fees.
Fees and you don't know what happens
You don't
in
know what
between.
happens in
Yeah,
between.
after, yes.
Yeah, but when we have all these students, even though they are not in the Minto cohorts, they will be able to participate, especially during holiday seasons, because now we are looking at how was your performance? Do you need some kind of remediation in that area that you may not be doing well? So we are not waiting until the student is in Form 4 and only to surprise they've not been doing well in certain subjects that may hinder their progress into college or any other career aspirations that they may want to go into. So very important to also just keep in mind that it's not just the paying of school fees, it's the development of the student all around.
All right, so we've come to the end, and if you like one of these beautiful sweatshirts that I saw, and a lot of merch that is coming, I know it'll be on the website. Will it also be available at the conference for purchase?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So a lot more merch coming your way. So I'd like to thank each of you and go and pass our regards as well to the rest of your team, and hopefully we get to meet the rest of your team and come and tell us how successful the conference was. And in the meantime, follow them. Do you have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Facebook, Instagram, Minto.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the 3 hashtags, which we will list at the end of this, and all their contact information. And please get your ticket for September 1st to 2nd, Friday and Saturday at the Renaissance in Dallas. All right, so from us here at 100,000 Voices, it's goodbye and have a blessed week.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Name is Esnas Naramba, Director Young Women Democrats and Onsembe CBO founder. I live and stay in Kisii. I'm a humanitarian. I do charity work. I'm also a human rights defendant. I want to take this opportunity to thank Minto Foundation for finding time and for also being a pillar in my programs and also in my life. When I started this, I never knew one day I'll have a team of well-wishers who want to see other people also happy. I started it because I knew that somebody who needed a shoulder, somebody who needed a pillar, somebody who needed a sister. But today, I am here standing with 2 brothers from Minto and the Minto Foundation at large. So I want to thank you, Minto Foundation, for all that you've done to us, courtesy of Chantel, Sylvia, and Darlington, and also a few others that have left the house, a few others that are in school. We want to thank you as a family. We want to thank you as a community living together. And I know that going forward, there is a lot that we haven't done because of resources. My dream is to have a home where they will get the motherly love, the sisterly love, the medical attention, the education side, and also the spiritual nourishment side, the guidance and counseling, and also at the end of the day, to have a resource center where I can bring in women, mostly who are affected by GBV, to have somewhere they can call home, heal from, and get at least some skill. When they are leaving, they leave to go and do something. So meaning I'm looking at a larger thing of how to empower that young lady, empower that young man, from looking things from the negative side to the positive side, and also to have a future where they can say, I was here and I want somebody also to pass through here to get what I got.
100,000 Voices Diaspora. A powerful journey echoing through generations. Our voices unite, forging an unbreakable bond that transcends time. Embrace the legacy, embrace the future. As we carry this heritage forward, 100,000 Voices Diaspora. where the past meets the present and the echo of our unity resounds forever.